Hello, I am Sandra Lee with miracleinspirations.com and the Breathe Life's Inspirations blog with your Health on Stress and What You Can Do series. I'm also going to be putting this on Facebook and YouTube. A little while ago, I did a Facebook Live video about chemical exposure and how this can affect health and hormone balance. And I talked a little bit about hand sanitizer in that video. I have since done a little bit of research and I have a little bit more information. So the first part of this video is going to be talking about chemical exposure and how this can affect health and hormone balance. And then the last part is going to be what I found out when I was investigating hand sanitizer and soaps and cleaners and things. So, chemical exposure and how this can affect health, including hormone balance. I got interested in talking about this topic because I recently had one of my clients who is post-menopausal, who for the past couple of months has been having PMS-like symptoms. So symptoms similar to how she used to experience when she was menstruating. This would not be normal for someone to experience these symptoms when after menopause. So I started looking at why might she be having these symptoms of hormone imbalance. And I kind of backtracked looking at liver and detoxification, and I realized that the timing of it could be relating to an increase in chemical exposure associated with the coronavirus pandemic and everyone's obsessive focus on disinfecting and hand sanitizing and cleaning everything all over the place, and people continually exposing themselves to hand sanitizers and antibacterial soaps and cleaning agents and things like that. And so I realized that because of an increased exposure to chemicals, her body may have been having more than usual struggles with detoxification, and this could lead to issues with hormone imbalance. So let's talk through those steps a little bit. Anytime you have a toxic exposure, a toxic chemical, your immune system has to pull that chemical out of your body because it's poisoning you, basically. The liver has to pull that chemical out of your body and add another molecule to it to change it. That's called phase 1, liver detoxification. And then it does something else to it. That's phase 2, liver detoxification. And that's what is required for the body to be able to take that chemical and be able to get rid of it, excrete it. That's part of what your body has to do anytime it needs to get rid of any kind of toxin. Toxic chemicals, including the ingredients that are in our foods, the pesticides and herbicides that are all over the place, the chemicals that are in furniture and clothing, all over the place we're exposed to these chemicals. This also happens when we're exposed to heavy metals, the kinds of chemicals that we absorb through our skin with the products that we use on our skins, our soaps, the scents and things like that that are around us. All of these chemicals and heavy metals are things that our bodies have to detoxify. And that all requires work on the part of the liver. And if over the course of my whole lifetime I've put this immune load on, that gives all this work that my body has to do to detoxify. And my liver's ability to do that can get worn out, basically. If my immune system gets overloaded with these chemicals needing to be detoxified, my liver can struggle with that. There are a whole range of reasons why people might have even more than usual difficulties with that, relating to genetics and other kinds of things. But for now, that's sufficient. An increase in toxic load means an increased amount of detoxification that the liver has to perform. And if the liver is overloaded, its ability to do that can be compromised. My body might be struggling to pull all these chemicals out. So what happens if the liver gets overloaded with the amount of toxins that it's having to deal with? The liver does a lot of different things. So many different things. It's involved in digestion, it's involved in hormone regulation, it's involved in enzyme function, detoxification. One other set of substances that the liver is involved in detoxifying is hormones. The body makes hormones, and when it is done with those hormone molecules, they go to the liver, and the liver detoxifies them and gets rid of what's left. So if the liver is being overloaded by dealing with chemicals, then its ability to also handle all of the other liver functions, including detoxifying and managing hormones, can be impacted. So if because the liver is overloaded, it's having a hard time managing those chemicals and therefore has a hard time managing hormones, what could happen? That could contribute to hormone imbalance and to symptoms of hormone imbalance. Have you heard of something called estrogen dominance? This is where in the body, the person's got more than the appropriate amount of estrogenic compounds. Estrogens are hormone compounds that our bodies naturally make and use for our ability to function. The cells of the body require estrogen to interact with them as part of normal function. Progesterone, testosterone as well. So in modern life, there are a lot of chemicals out there that are estrogen-like. They don't really function as estrogen, but they are close enough to being like estrogen that the body kind of has an estrogenic effect from these chemicals. When we have exposure to these estrogen-like compounds in our food, in the chemicals that are around us, the cleaning chemicals, the scent, the fragrance chemicals, the skincare products, the hair products, all these things can contain estrogen-like compounds in them. And so it makes it harder for our bodies to manage the hormones properly. It can lead to a whole range of different hormone-related symptoms that people can experience. So could that have something to do with why my client was having PMS-like symptoms? Could be. I'm not a doctor, not able to diagnose that. I don't know. But could it have been a factor? Exposure to more than usual estrogenic compounds through the chemicals could definitely be a factor. So in the section later where I am talking about hand sanitizers and soaps and things like that I checked out today, I will talk a little bit more about estrogenic compounds in those kinds of products. But for now, we're going to say that the liver may be overloaded and having a hard time managing the hormones properly and with detoxification. There's another factor that I worked on with this client of mine. In addition to working on her liver, I also worked on the large intestine, because the large intestine is also a big part of this detoxification picture. When the body is ready to take something and get rid of it, there are several different avenues through which those compounds can be released. A lot of them go out through our urine. The kidney pulls them out, puts them into the urine, and they go into the toilet. Then there's feces, the solid part that goes out through the large intestine and gets eliminated that way. The large intestine is very much involved in detoxification. So if digestion is being impacted for whatever reason, some people have chronically affected digestion. Then if the body is not able to excrete those toxins through the feces very well, what can happen is that they can get reabsorbed. If someone has constipation, the digestion is not working properly, those chemicals may be held onto too long in the colon and get absorbed back into the body again, poisoning you all over again. So you certainly don't want that. So something you can do to support your detoxification is make sure that your colon is moving properly, that you do not have constipation. At the same time, you don't want to have diarrhea, because then you're not absorbing enough of the nutrients and the water from your food. So if you have issues with either constipation or diarrhea, I recommend you contact your healthcare provider and see what they can do to help you be able to eat properly and manage that a little bit more effectively. Another way that our bodies eliminate toxins is through our breath, breathe them out, and through our skin. The skin is your largest eliminative organ. Okay, so thinking about supporting you by decreasing the amount of toxins that you take in through your food and through the chemicals that you expose yourself to. And then also, if you choose, you could work with me through biofield tuning to help your body to be able to function and operate properly, to support your immune system, your liver, your large intestine, your hormone balance. Those are all things that I can help your body to be able to do with energetic work supporting your health. So that is the first part of this. I'm Sandra Lee with MiracleInspirations.com and the Breathe Life Inspirations blog. Thank you for watching. If you want to continue on, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I found about hand sanitizers, antibacterial soaps, and disinfectants. Okay, so when I first talked about hand sanitizers, I was concerned that maybe they contained some of these estrogenic compounds, endocrine disrupting compounds. The endocrine system is the hormone system of the body, and endocrine disruptors disrupt that balance, progesterone and estrogen, and our body's ability to have appropriate hormone balance. When I checked into the compounds that are in hand sanitizers, I was actually pleasantly surprised. They work primarily through alcohol, and alcohol kills the microbes and helps to be able to get them off the body by rubbing the hands with that alcohol. And that for the most part, I think hand sanitizers now do not have estrogenic compounds, which I was very happy about. The estrogenic compounds that I was concerned about are triclosan and triclocarbon. These are compounds that used to be used in antibacterial soaps, and they are estrogenic. So as I was investigating antibacterial soaps, it looks like most of them no longer have triclosan in them. So they've been removed because they cause, endocrine imbalances. So I'm glad that they have removed them. It makes me unsure about what the chemicals are that they are putting in them now. And when I looked at the other ingredients in hand sanitizers and in antibacterial soaps, I was actually more concerned about the antibacterial soap than the hand sanitizer, because the hand sanitizers appear mostly to be working with the alcohol. There are other compounds in there, and I just, I couldn't check them all out. What you want to be concerned about is that they not contain something called fragrance, because fragrance very well could have estrogenic compounds in it. So I would choose one that does not have fragrance added or fragrance listed on it. There's a whole bunch of other ingredients on there, just, I just wasn't sure. So what I have done is I choose to make my own hand sanitizer using alcohol. Alcohol is very drying to the skin, so if you're using it a lot, It's good to have aloe vera in it, and I have some essential oils in it. I don't use the hand sanitizer very much because I mostly rely on washing my hands. Hand washing is actually much more effective at removing the bacteria than is using hand sanitizer. Whether you're using hand sanitizer or washing your hands, it's important that you be rubbing for at least 20 seconds. 30 seconds is even better. They've done some studies on that. And so they have found that washing hands is actually more effective. So I really only use hand sanitizer when I'm away from the house. But when I am in places where I'm with other people, you see people putting hand sanitizer all over the time, many, many, many times a day. This really is not very good for health because when we use antibacterials of any kind, this impacts the population of the microbes on the hands, on the body. And this is, the microbiome. This is all part of the population of microbes that live on and in our bodies. And it's important that we have a healthy balance of those bacteria and other microbes. We want to avoid having overgrowth of the non-beneficial ones, but when we're always sanitizing, we're actually getting rid of all of them. And this can create imbalance in our microbiomes that impact our health. And the microbiome has been found to be one of the most important things that impacts our ability to be healthy. So this excessive focus on antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobes is actually ultimately a little bit damaging to our long-term health. So I want to use as few antimicrobial substances as I can get away with. Yes, to do the normal amount that feels appropriate, but not to go overboard. Now, a little bit more about the hand sanitizers, because they work primarily because of the alcohol. Alcohol is flammable, so just be aware of that. Don't use them around flames, and don't leave them in your car, because who knows, it might set fire to your vehicle. You don't really want to do that. Now that it's getting to be summertime in North America, it can get pretty hot in the car. So, using hand sanitizers really as sparingly as you can, and rely more on hand washing than hand sanitizers. Now, looking at the antibacterial soaps, looking at liquid soaps, because a lot of people have gone to liquid soaps. There are a lot more questionable ingredients in liquid soaps than in bar soaps. So if you can, use a bar soap. If you want to have a liquid soap, I would recommend going with a brand that you trust. Personally, for all of my cleaning and personal care products, I now choose to work with independent companies whose ethics I trust and who I trust to figure out which ingredients are safe to use. Because the truth is, I am not going to go and look up every ingredient in the Environmental Working Group's database. The Environmental Working Group has a database where you can go search for ingredients and see the toxicity level of them. As I was looking up the ingredients on the antibacterial soaps, there were several on there that were not showing as endocrine disruptors, but as affecting the immune system. So possibly causing allergies or immune effects in people. And so I just don't want to use those unless it's absolutely necessary. Same thing for household and space cleaning products, surfaces and things like that. A lot of those have toxic chemicals in them. One more thing about the hand sanitizer. Because they're mostly alcohol about how they work, it's not good to breathe in all of that alcohol and have all that alcohol on your hands. So just to understand that those are for use when absolutely necessary, and other than that, rely more on hand washing. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. I am Sandra Lee with miracleinspirations.com and the Breathe Life's Inspirations blog. Have a wonderful day. I hope this was helpful. Thank you. Bye. Be safe.